2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to have Robux, and lots of it. At the time, a game called Roblox, but every second you get +1 speed, was starting to trend. So I thought I could remake this game, but with a twist. And because of that, Roblox, but every second you get +1 jump was born. And here's how I managed to get over 100,000 Robux off of that game in less than a month with no scripting experience. Before I made this game, I've only made one other real game, which was this tycoon right here. I worked on this game with a friend, and we used a free kit that we found in the toolbox to create it. If something didn't work out, then we would look on YouTube or just take stuff out of the toolbox, since we had no idea how to code at all. And we actually somehow managed to release it and eventually get a few thousand Robux, which is honestly really good for us, since it was the first amount of Robux that we actually made. Since we had no Robux to advertise it, we had to fully rely on the show's success that the game was made after to bring people to search for it, which, believe it or not, is actually the #1 thing I tell new devs to do who don't have Robux and want to make a new game, which is to either make it based off of something currently popular, such as a show, movie, or trend, like I did for this game, and also the game that I'm talking about later in this video, or if you notice a certain genre of games is starting to pop up more and more, then just kind of follow that trend, and your game will probably get some success, which is actually exactly what I did for my +1 game after I saw that the +1 speed game was doing really well. So I did exactly what I just said. But yeah, after we saw that +1 speed game, we saw its potential of like becoming trending, because we're like, oh, +1 speed, +1 jump. What other things should people do? Like +1 health. Now it's like really popular still. Like if you search it up +1 literally anything, you'll find a ton of games. But this game right here that I'm talking about is one of the first, and my game was actually like the second one that came out. So this is definitely a really good method, so then people search for a game and you don't have to pay ads on it. And how we actually managed to make the game, since we had no idea how to code, we literally just went online and went to YouTube and just saw videos of like different clicker games and stuff, and we stole a bunch of stuff out of the toolbox. But nowadays, if you're making a game, it's honestly a lot easier to actually make it if you don't know how to code, since you can literally just ask AI like ChatGPT or Roblox's assistant to write the code for you, and all you gotta do is tell it what you want and it'll give it to you. So it's a lot better now and a lot simpler. And since we didn't have AI back then, we had to use the toolbox a whole lot, and just kind of took a whole lot of free models out, since we also had no idea on how to make models and to design stuff. Like I didn't even know what Blender was at that time. And honestly, the toolbox is actually a really good tool to get assets for your game if you aren't a very strong builder, or if you're just starting off your journey. I used to use free models from the toolbox for a very long time, and it helped me build up my experience and actually make a lot of Robux. But the thing is, I do caution you that if you are using like AI or toolbox, at least try to grasp how it's actually working. Because if you don't try to understand it at all, then you won't learn anything, and you won't improve, and you'll never actually be able to make games on your own. But it's a lot easier nowadays to like understand some stuff, because if you get code off of like ChatGPT or the AI assistant, you can literally just ask them, can you explain this, and they'll tell you exactly what it does step by step. And it's a bit harder for like the free models off of Toolbox, but even then, you can like copy and paste the code that's inside the free model and then paste it into ChatGPT and say, explain this. And then that'll honestly help you learn. While we were making the game, I remember that we struggled for a few days to make the leader stat save, which is actually pretty crazy to me right now, because I feel like that's such a simple thing to do. But back then, that was so complicated for me. And we were literally in such a time crunch because we wanted to get this game out as soon as possible that we hired someone on Fiverr to actually do it for us. So that's the thing, you might have to put money into your game if you think it might succeed, even if you don't get anything out of it. Like, I don't know how much, we probably spent like $10, and this guy made us a little like data save system. But the reason why we're trying to get it out really quickly was because someone else was actually making the exact same game as us, and a few days before we released ours, while we were struggling on this leader stat saving data thing, they released the game, and their game started to get a ton of players. So we were kind of stressing out because I felt like our game was better, and I remember that we rushed it as soon as possible. And since we didn't know how to code or anything, we had to hire this guy on Fiverr, which you wouldn't have to do now, because you can literally just ask ChatGPT to do it for you, like make this leader stat save or whatever, and it'll do it all for you. You don't really need to hire someone, so you can make a game completely for free. You don't even need to advertise it if you do the strat, which I said before, which is to make it after like a trend or a movie or something like that. But if you do make it after a movie or a show, you got to remember that you got to check if your game can be copyrighted, because I've made some games before where it was based off of a show or a movie and they got taken down and I got a strike, which is really bad. I don't really know what it actually does, but I'm pretty sure like 3 strikes are out or whatever and your account gets banned. I have like 2, so I'm stressing right now. But make sure your game can't get copyrighted, because then you'll get into a lot of trouble and your game will get deleted. You still will make money probably, but don't risk it. But then when we actually did release our game, I remember I coughed up this thumbnail and icon right here, which I can admit isn't my best work, because I did make it 2 years ago. That was before I had like anything. Here are some of my thumbnails that I'm making nowadays, which you can tell I improved a whole lot. So it's okay. Like, that also shows you don't need the best thumbnails or icons to actually make your game get plays or visits, because this sucks. Honestly, I would not click on this nowadays, but I guess my game almost has 200,000 visits now and made over 100,000 Robux, so it doesn't matter too much. Just kind of make anything. Make sure it's not the Roblox default one, because that one isn't that good, and if people see that, they're probably not going to join your game. So at least try to make some sort of thumbnail, or if you really want, you can even hire someone online. But yeah, the second after we released it, since this guy was kind of like, we're stressing out because of him, what we did is we took that Robux from the last game that we made, the little tycoon one, and we put it all into ads and sponsors for this one. We didn't actually have to do this because people would have searched for it because of the trend, but we just wanted people to find it really quickly, since if we did wait for people just to search for it, it would have taken a little while for Roblox's algorithm to pick it up, since it was probably in like the bottom of the search bar. But a trick nowadays, if you don't want to spend money on ads, is to get your account and maybe some friends accounts, or I don't know, some alt accounts, and you want to join your game and just give it a favorite or whatever, and kind of just AFK there for a little while. Another good thing you could do is the day after join the game again on that exact same account, because the 2 metrics that Roblox heavily relies on to see if they want to push your game out to other people is the engagement time and the day 1 retention, which pretty much just means the percentage of people who play your game the next day. So you can kind of like trick the algorithm by joining it on a bunch of accounts and then just joining again the next day. Make sure you kind of AFK in there for a little while. In the analytics, if your genre for your game is any, I think actually I'll show you guys right here. It's this right here. See how it's this area? This is pretty much the average games of my genre, which is any genre. But pretty much this is like the top 1,000 or 100 games on Roblox, and you want to make sure that your day 1 retention and engagement, especially for like the first few days, if you're just like AFKing or joining again next day, you want to make sure it's over this amount, because if Roblox sees that, they'll push out like a ton of people, and it's actually really good. But yeah, after we advertised our game, a ton of people started playing it. I'm pretty sure we peaked near 100 concurrent players, and we actually started to make a whole lot of Robux from this shop right here. At the time, I think we were pulling in around 1,000 Robux a day from dev products and game passes alone, which went up to a bit over 100,000 total. And we also made a few tens of thousands off of premium payouts, which is pretty good. But you don't actually get that Robux until a couple like months later, because Roblox just has to process it. And I really wish I could show you the analytics of the game during that time, but Roblox made it so now you can't really see your analytics past a year ago. So I can't actually see any of the stats back then, but I do have these screenshots right here, which in this one you can see I have over 58,000 Robux. I think this was during the peak, since you can see like my pending Robux is really high, but I don't know, I'm actually not sure the exact date of this screenshot, but it was near the success of my game. I'm not sure if it was a prime, because I kind of remember the pending Robux being higher, but there's also this screenshot from after, which you can tell is after the peak, since the pending Robux went down quite a bit. And I also do want to mention I made this game with my friend, so we actually split profits 50-50, which is why it doesn't say I have 100,000 Robux like I told you guys. Not clickbait, the game actually made over 100,000 Robux. It's just we split 50-50. So pretty much everything you see here for me, double it, and that's how much I made. And that's probably not even it, because we made some money after these screenshots. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and comment down below if you want to see more videos like this, and leave a like so I know, and maybe even subscribe so you get notified when I post again if you're interested on other things. Comment down below other videos I should make. I haven't made one in a while. Hopefully you like this kind of content, and bye.